Welcome to Sci-Fi Recaps. Today, I will be sharing a 2009 film called Daybreakers. Relax and enjoy. A young vampire girl writes her final note before leaving her house and waits for the sun to rise. She is sick of being a vampire and never aging. The sun vaporizes her, instantly killing her. In today's society, vampires are the majority, so the remaining humans have the chance to turn into vampires and join them, but they refuse to be turned into vampires, so they are captured and farmed for their blood to feed the vampires. On the streets, a homeless vampire is hungry for blood and growls at a couple when they walk past him, scaring them. He gets electrocuted in the neck by the police. Next, a blacked-out car drives through the streets and stops near the metro station. It is revealed that the driver is a vampire. Edwards heads down to the metro station, waiting for the train, and below him are vampires and monsters fighting. Edwards heads to his workplace and undergoes strict security checks before entering the building. He takes the elevator and walks past many captured humans farmed for blood before entering his laboratory. In a meeting room, Edwards and several other high-ranking staff discuss the problem of shortage of human blood and the consequence of it, and Edwards blanks out during the meeting. In Edwards' boss office, his boss shares the same pity he feels about humans being used for their blood, and convinces Edwards to continue his research on the blood substitute. Back at his laboratory, Edwards and his colleague agree to proceed with human trials after confirming that it is stable enough. Edwards experiments with the blood substitute on a vampire and closely monitors his body temperature in front of the high-ranking staff. Once all the substitute is injected, the subject starts shaking violently and its body explodes. On his way back home, he realizes that he is deprived of blood as his ears are changing in shape and lost focus of the road. He causes a car to crash, and the human driver shoots an arrow at him. He convinces the driver and the passengers to hide in his car before the police arrive. He lies to the police, allowing them to escape. He enters his house, waters his plants, and his younger brother visits him after a few months. His brother brings back a bottle of human blood to share with him, but Edwards throws the blood down the sink. His brother throws the empty bottle, which attracts a vampire monster to the house. His brother gets knocked down by it, but recovers and kills it with a few swift swings of the knife. The police arrive at the house and take evidence of the scene. During the day, Edwards wakes up when the driver he saved earlier turns up at his house. She asks him to head to the location on the hand-drawn map where humans stay. During work, Edwards looks at the hand-drawn map. After work, he drives to the creek where he meets a vampire-turned-human called Lionel and wants to find out more when he is interrupted by Frankie holding Audrey at gunpoint. Audrey pushes Frankie into the sun and takes Edwards' vehicle as Lionel's vehicle is shot at by an army vehicle. The car gets shot at. Light enters the car while Audrey tries to cover the holes and the car's camera gets shot. Edward can no longer safely drive. Lionel takes over while Edward stays away from the rays of light. A car chase soon occurs. Lionel drives across a closed bridge, but the army vehicle is too heavy, which causes the bridge to collapse, killing the soldiers. Lionel drives them to the place where he turned back into a human due to a car accident and explains that he lost focus of the road due to lack of human blood. He crashed into a fence and caught on fire when he ejected out of the car. He realized he was human again after that. That is when Audrey explains that the purpose of working with Edward is to recreate this situation again safely. Edwards' boss orders Frankie to convince Edwards to come back to work for him again, and Frankie agrees. Edwards and the humans are driving to a safe location when Edward keeps staring at Audrey's neck. They stop the car, and she knows he is deprived of blood, so she cuts her hand and offers the blood. He refuses, but Audrey insists as she does not want to worry about her and Lionel's safety. They arrive at a safe location where they meet other humans, including Jarvis, who leads a group of humans to find more survivors. Also, he meets Senator Wes Turner, a vampire politician who wants to protect humans. The next scene shows Edward's boss looking at his empty machine and a dead human. At the metro station, customers complain that their coffee lacks blood, but the server refuses and he snatches a blood bag. He bursts it, splattering blood all over, causing a frenzy, which results in the police electrocuting them into submission. The next day, Edward takes blood samples from Lionel and asks him how he felt when he became human. When Edward goes for a break, most of the humans except for Audrey leave the room in fear. Suddenly, Edward has the idea to use the airtight wine fermentation tanks for the experiment. Lionel, Audrey, and Edward work together to change the tank to Edward's needs. Jarvis and a group of humans have transported a group of human survivors back to the safe location but get ambushed by a large number of vampire soldiers. They knocked out all the humans quickly, and one of the soldiers was Frankie. A girl radios back to the safe location before she is also knocked out. The soldiers use the radio to find out the location of the safe area. Most of the humans at the safe location start packing their items and get ready to leave. However, Edward stays as he knows that this is the last chance to conduct the experiment, which convinces Audrey and Lionel to stay to help him. Back at Edward's boss office, Edward's boss's daughter tries to convince her to turn into a vampire, but she refuses and tries to escape. But she is knocked out by a soldier, and he realizes that she stabbed him. The next morning, they get ready for the experiment. Edward is attached to a heart monitor and is wrapped in a wet cloth while Audrey monitors from outside the chamber. After the third time, Edward is turned into a human when Audrey detects a pulse using the machine. But the soldiers are already searching for them. Edward's boss orders Frankie to bite his daughter to turn her into a vampire, and Frankie agrees. She tries to push him away, but is overpowered and gets bitten. They leave the safe location after checking that the soldiers have left, and are relieved to be able to stand in the sun again just like a human. Edward's boss goes to check on his vampire daughter and is shocked to discover that she has been feeding on her blood. She blames him for what has become and tries to attack him, but is taken away by a soldier. The military starts to kill the vampire monsters, hiding underground in the city. Edward, Audrey, and Lionel head to house the fleeing human survivors to discover that they are all dead and wonder if they are the only humans left in the world. The execution of the captured vampire monsters, known as subsides, is made public. The soldiers use a truck to drag them out into the sun, killing them. Frankie realizes that one of the subsides is Edward's boss's daughter when she tries to attack him and seems disturbed by it. Edward, Audrey, and Lionel surprise Edward's colleague at his house. Edward tells him that he has found a cure that is better than the blood substitute. He leaves the room to pick up a call, but Audrey becomes suspicious when he does not return. She is knocked out, and Edward and Lionel run away through a metro tunnel, but are spotted by Frankie. They hide at an abandoned garage where Frankie ambushes them and saves Edward from being bitten by a subsider. Frankie realizes that Edward has turned into a human and admits that he turned Edward into a vampire to save him from being farmed for blood. As Lionel gets closer to Frankie, Frankie bites Lionel's neck. Edward is prepared to kill his brother, but stops when he realizes that he has turned into a human. Edward surrenders himself to his boss and sees Audrey tied up with her wrist cut while his boss enjoys her blood. Edward tries to convince him to turn him and Audrey into vampires, but his boss wants to instead kill him as he already has a working blood substitute. So Edward calls his booze a coward to anger him, which causes him to bite Edward. His boss starts turning into a human, presses an alarm for help, and Edwards reveals the cure is consuming vampire-turned-human blood. Soldiers arrive at the building where Edward's boss is seen tied to a chair. The smell of human blood causes the vampire soldiers to start feeding on him. Edward and Audrey escape using the stairs and are about to leave the building when a group of soldiers surround them. Suddenly, a car crashes into the building and Frankie comes out of the car and knocks out all of the soldiers. More soldiers arrive and Frankie sacrifices himself to buy time for them. Audrey gets captured by a vampire security guard and Edward rushes to help her. In the room, they kill several security guards. Edward sees through the security camera that his brother's sacrifice was not in vain, as the soldiers that fed on him turned human, which allowed more vampires to continue feeding on them and turning into humans and for the cycle to continue. Edward and Audrey leave the security room to see that only a few remaining soldiers who have become human have survived. But they are shot by Edward's colleague, as he does not want to cure the vampire population. An arrow shot by Lionel kills him instantly, and Audrey hugs Lionel while Edward looks at his brother for the last time. The movies end with them leaving in Lionel's car, and Edward telling the audience that now with the cure, they can change everyone back. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more sci-fi movies.